We're talking about a fresh iPhone leak that could hint at one of Apple's biggest design shifts in years. The iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max may be testing a new look for the dynamic island, plus subtle but important changes to the rear design and body materials. If you care about what the iPhone will look like in 2026 and whether Apple is finally moving Face ID further under the display, is the leak you need to hear. Let's break it all down. So, here's the headline. A well-known leaker, Digital Chat Station, is claiming Apple is currently running A/B testing on the iPhone 18 Pro series display design, and that matters, because it suggests Apple hasn't fully locked the final front design yet, or at least they're still validating two different directions before mass production. According to the leak, one version of the display remains essentially unchanged, meaning the dynamic island would look similar to what we see on the iPhone 17 Pro generation, but the other version could bring a small island design base, a shrunken dynamic island with a key twist. Part of the Face ID hardware may move under the displayThats. The big idea here, not dynamic. Island is going away, not full screen. iPhone, but a step closer where Apple reduces the size of the cutout by hiding at least one Face ID component underneath the screen. Now, we've heard smaller dynamic island rumors before, so what makes this one interesting is the wording around active testing and supply chain feedback. Because when you start hearing phrases like screen mold and A/B testing, it suggests this is more than a random concept. It implies Apple is evaluating real display tooling options to potential builds before choosing the one that becomes the final iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max design. And if you're wondering what under display means in this context, think of it like this. Apple could keep the visible cutout, but reduce its footprint by relocating specific sensors under the old panel. The cutout remains, but it gets smaller, cleaner, and less visually dominant during normal use. That could make the iPhone 18 Pro feel more modern without forcing Apple to take risky leaps that might compromise Face ID performance. Now, the leak also includes an interesting side note. Digital Chat Station references Samsung allegedly mocking the idea of a small island design. To be clear, there's no real reason to believe Apple changes hardware plans because a competitor jokes about it. Apple does what Apple does on Apple's timeline, but the mention is still worth noting because it keeps the focus on one thing. The industry is paying attention to Apple's next move with the front camera and Face ID cutout. And for Apple fans, the important part isn't the rivalry, it's the possibility that the iPhone 18 Pro series might finally start reducing the visual impact of the dynamic island now. Here's the caution flag with this leak. If the claim is that Apple is still A/B testing in the spring, that feels late in the development cycle, at least compared to how people imagine Apple finalizes things, but it's not impossible. Apple prototypes constantly, and supply chain testing doesn't always mean final design is undecided. It can also mean Apple is stress testing yields, cost, consistency, and reliabilities, especially with advanced display tech like under-panel sensor integration. Even if Apple knows which one it prefers, it may still be validating which option can be manufactured at scale with the quality Apple demands. And when you're Apple, the iPhone 18 Pro isn't just a phone launch, it's a global supply chain event. Now let's move to the second part of the leak, the back design and the body materials. According to follow-up information tied to the same leaker, Apple is expected to keep the rectangular plateau design introduced with the iPhone 17 Pro generation, so don't expect a radical camera island redesign if this leak is correct. The overall rear layout would remain familiar, which usually signals Apple is satisfied with the direction or that it wants to focus attention on other upgrades, like the display and internal tech. But the leak claims there will be minor adjustments to the body, materials, and design details. And that phrase sounds small, but it can mean a lot, because one of the most consistent criticisms of recent iPhone design language is the visual separation between the frame material and the glass cutout area used for wireless charging. So what Apple may be aiming for here based on the rumor is a more uniform look between the aluminum unibody frame and the glass section on the back, basically fewer awkward transitions, a cleaner finish, and a design that looks and feels more seamless in the hand. And if Apple can make the materials look more integrated, more one piece, the iPhone 18 Pro could look more refined even if the shape remains familiar. That's often Apple's real design strategy, not changing everything at once, but polishing the experience until it feels inevitable. Now let's put this leak into a simple what it means. Breakdown. If the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max truly are being tested with two front designs, then one of these outcomes is likely. Option 1, Apple keeps the dynamic island, basically the same as the iPhone 17 Pro generation, focusing improvements elsewhere like camera performance, battery life, and software features. Option 2, Apple introduces a smaller dynamic island by shifting at least part of the Face ID system under the display, making the front look cleaner while keeping the iPhone identity intact. And on the back, even if the camera plateau stays, Apple could still make the device feel more premium by refining how the materials meet, creating that more consistent, unified look around the wireless charging area. Now, the key takeaway here is not this is confirmed, it's that this leak paints a picture of Apple's next step, evolution. Not revolution, shrinking what's visible on the front, refining what's felt on the back, and quietly moving toward the long-term goal of a more uninterrupted display. And if Apple pulls it off without sacrificing Face ID reliability, this could be one of the most meaningful iPhone design updates since the dynamic island debuted in the first place. So the big question for you is this: would you rather Apple keep the dynamic island exactly as it is because it's already iconic and functional, or would you upgrade for a smaller, cleaner iPhone 18 Pro design with under-display Face ID components? Because if these iPhone 18 Pro leaks are accurate, Apple may be getting ready to give us the first real visual change to the dynamic island E-road without abandoning it entirely.